We're going to continue from where we left off yesterday. And we spoke about the clothes of the Kohen that Rabbi Yehuda is asking, how come the clothes of the Kohen, they have gold in it, but they don't have silver in it? If you remember, we spoke about it yesterday. Asking if the Kohen is coming from the Sphero of Chesed, and in the Sphero of Chesed, the color silver is coming, not the color, the metal. Silver is coming from the Sphero of Chesed. It would make more sense that in the begadim, in the clothes of the Kohen, should be also the color silver. And the gold is actually coming from the Sphero of Gvura, and not from Chesed. That's what we started talking about. And then we went into many different other subjects. But we left off with why specifically the holy garments of the Kohen, they didn't have the color silver in it. That's where we left off. We're in Daf Resh Yud Zayin, 117, Amud Aleph, and we're continuing from there. B'ezrat Hashem. And then he answered, Elad hachi teninan. This is how we have learned Kedusha innun bechol atar. The clothes of the Kohen Gadol, that we know that they're holy. This is not just a garment you buy in Gap. This is a holy garment. And they have a very unique holiness in it. Meaning that everywhere, meaning from above and below, both in above and below, the world above and the world below. We mentioned that in Kabbalah, the Sphera of Chokhmah is called Abba. And this is there's a certain secret, specifically in the Kohen Gadol, in the Kohen that used to wear these specific clothes. There's a secret behind it. It's not that, again, it's not a regular garment. Uchtiv, as it says, it says in the book of Vayikra, in chapter 16, Bigdei Kodeshem, these are garments that are holy, meaning that they're not, in this world they're considered holy garments. We're talking here about the garments from the world above. Everything has to be dressed in garments. That's why it manifests into this world that we are dressed in garments. We mentioned that yesterday, Adam and Chava, they started off naked. And not that they were walking in Gan Eden there all exposed. That's not what it's relating to. Rather, they didn't have garments because they were able to receive their godly revelation without garments. So the way how we can perceive it is naked. So rather the garments are, we'll call it now for the sake of the example, filters that filtering the godly light to be able to receive some type of a revelation. If I want to reveal to you a very deep secret, then if you are not a vessel to receive it, then it has to be dressed in a parable or into an example. So the mind can actually be a vessel to receive it. Same thing here. There's a godly revelation. In order to receive this godly revelation, one needs to have the right garments to, so to say, absorb this light and to be able to relate with it. Kind of similar to, if a person would look in the sun, directly in the sun, he will get blinded on the spot. Rather, the person needs to wear sunglasses or some type of shades that will filter the light and he can still see something. So everything in the physical world for sure, but even in the spiritual world has to be dressed in garments in order for to receive some type of a godly revelation and to relate with it and not to be completely overwhelmed and annulled by it. More than that, in order to express itself, even if it's in the spiritual level and we're relating to a soul here, in order to express itself, it has to be dressed in a garment. And it's almost like in our day, you would see that some people, they express their talents or their desire or their what they believe in through a garment. They will wear a certain thing, and even in Judaism, you would see that a person will wear a certain garment to present from which group he belongs to. It can be a certain color of a yarmulke, a certain jacket, and sometimes you can look at the dress, how the person is dressed, and say he's from this group, because this group wears the yarmulke like that, or the hat like that, or the jacket like that. This is a very superficial way, but you see that sometimes people, they would dress a certain way to take a stand, and you dress a certain way saying, okay, I belong to this group, or this is my opinion. Same thing also you see with most officials, they will always have a uniform, an army, the police, the fire department. So it's a way to define who I am and what am I representing. So same thing in the spiritual world, when the soul wants to express itself in one way, then it has to be dressed in a certain garment in order to reveal itself, because in the spiritual world, the communication is not done in an external way. The communication is done in a very internal way between souls. Souls don't talk, and souls don't have conversations. It's like exchanging of data. My analogy here is how computers talk. Computers talk all day long. You go now to a store and you'll run a credit card. The computer is calling another computer within a split second and asking, tell me, does Chaim have a credit on his credit card? The other computer says, I'm very sorry to tell you, he doesn't. Right away you get a decline. So the computers are talking to each other, and you think the computer is asking really the name, Chaim, does he have credit? They're transferring data between one to the other. It's all code, it's all coded, and the computers talk to each other. But there's no conversation here. It's just exchanging of data based on how much is allowed to be revealed, and that's it. So the souls don't talk to each other. The angels don't talk to each other. It's just an exchange of data. In order for the soul to even relate with something else, it has to be done through a garment. Everything in the spiritual world is always going to be relating to another entity through a garment. So when we're talking about the garments of the Kohen, in this world they're holy, but they're originating, the structure of the garment of the Kohen is originating, coming from a very high world, and this world is called the world of Abba Alma, the world of Abba, which we know it's a Sphero of Chokhmah, and they're manifested into this world in a way that they're holy because where they come from. Now, these garments, they're already they're called holy garments, as it says, "Ve'asita bigdei kodesh," as it says in the Torah. Also, and this is said in the book of Shmot, chapter 28. It says you should do holy garments, meaning kegavna dil'ela, that the same way that the garments are in the high world, they should be also in the lower world, meaning in this world, and they should be resembling the garments of the holy priest, or of this level of the holy priest, high priest in the world of Chokhmah. Everything that Moshe Rabbeinu did, Hashem showed it to him in a very spiritual way, and then Moshe Rabbeinu brought it down. When he had to do the menorah, when he had to do all the kelim, Hashem showed it to him in the spiritual, and Moshe says, okay, this is how it should be. So everything that we see in this world is actually a mirror or a reflection from the world above. Now he brings some type of a proof to what he says. The Tanya Kohen Gadol Le'ela, the Kohen Gadol, there is a Kohen Gadol in the world above. That this is the secret of the world of Abba, the world of Chokhmah. Kohen Gadol etata, and there's also a Kohen Gadol that it's a manifestation in the world below. That this is, so to say, a mirror of the Kohen Gadol above. Meaning that if you would look what the Kohen Gadol is doing in this world, the action that he does, there's something similar to that in the world above that does the exact same action. Everything in the world above is the original, and here it's like a carbon copy. Whatever happens in this world, we know that it happened already in the world above. If it's now raining in this world, then in the world above there's some type of action that resembles rain. Ribui chesed. A lot of chesed is now coming down. but it can also be always mixed with a little bit of gvura, then the rain will become stronger. So everything that happens here, there's winds right now here, there's a certain energy in the world above that is affecting the universe, that it manifests into the world, then now will be a rain over here. We always say about the world above that it's above. There's no proof that the world is above. I always say it's not above, it's inside. Not necessarily above. I mean, we say above and below, but this is just the level of it. But we spoke about it a few months ago in one of the ma'amarim we were learning, that doesn't say anywhere that it's specifically physically above me. It can be inside of me. So I can put like an example, I can put my hand now in a puppet, and whatever my hand will do, the puppet will move. Now, what is operating the puppet? My hand. Is the hand now above it? No, the hand is inside. And the hand is moving, and it's moving the hands of the puppet, and the whole puppet is moving. It doesn't say that it's above. Of course, you can compare that to a puppet that is on strings, and you move the strings from above. But the point is to always remember that when it says the world above, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's hovering above me. It means it's above in its level. It could be that it's so refined that it's actually inside and just much, much smaller. Science is coming to prove godliness. And science proved about 80 years ago that the atom is so small that first of all, even something so small can still be split, but everything is built from these atoms. And there's neutrons going around the atom, and everything is microscopic, you can't even see it. So, and if the atom can be broken, I don't know if that's what you say in English, split, meaning that it's even smaller than that. So, not necessarily when it's talking about the world above is actually really above us. Rather, I like more the analogy that if my hand is in a puppet and my hand moves, the hand is the world above and the puppet is the world below. So if something's happened now in the world, in the Sphero of Chokhmah, that it's so to say inside, so it's projected out. Remember when we were kids, I'm sure they have it now, when we were kids we had this thing that it had a lot of pins, and if you would put your hand, then it will come out here, all the pins, and you put your face, so the face will be out. So I learned from that whatever is happening b'pnimiyut is affecting the outside. So there's obviously a Kohen Gadol in the world, in the spiritual world, and he has spiritual garments, so when it's pushed out to the world, it will manifest into this world. And also, levushin dikar deila, there is garments of respect and glory and honor in the world above, and this is called, again, the world above that we're referring to is called Abba, and Abba, as we know, it's the Sphero of Chokhmah. And these garments of respect and honor above, they're the secret, so to say, of the 32 paths of Chokhmah. If you remember, we spoke a couple of times about Sefer Yetzirah, about the book of formation, then it says that there are 32 paths of Chokhmah. What does it mean right now? We're not going to explain it, but this is a term that is mentioned a lot of times, Lamed Bet Netivot Chokhmah. There are 32 channels or paths that are manifesting from the level of Chokhmah. And the Gimatria is Kavod. Kaf, Bet, Vav, and Dalet. This is the 32. Kaf is 20, and Bet is 2, Vav is 6, and Dalet is 4. You get 32. So the Kavod is honor and respect. The garments of the Kohen Gadol are the concept of Kavod, like a king that is wearing a special garment. This is a secret, it comes from this 32 paths of Chokhmah. Shehem levushim le'aba, these are the garments of the Sphero of Chokhmah. Just imagine how many garments the Sphero of Chokhmah has. It's kind of, if you want to somehow picture what it means in your mind, try to imagine colors in a spectrum. So you can look at a spectrum of colors, and you'll have 6 colors, 20 colors, 80 colors. And the more colors you have, the more shades you have. Just try to imagine like a palette of colors. And each color represents a different path. So you can have a little bit of colors, you can have a lot of colors. Now we continue. Levushin di'ekar letata. and the same garments that we have in the world above, then the same garments will manifest into the world and will create worlds below, garments below. And these are the garments that the Kohen down here in this world will have to wear on him. So he's basically saying, in other words, that the garments of the Kohen Gadol above and the garments from the Kohen Gadol below, both are called Kodesh. Kodesh means they're holy. Holy is not necessarily, we imagine when you're saying the word holy, that is something that is like above everybody, rather, or something that you can't touch. Holy in Hebrew is kadosh, and kadosh means it's separated, it's exalted. It's not connected to everything else. That's why it says about every time that it's mentioning about the garments of the Kohen Gadol, it's talking about kedusha, holiness. Now he goes back to what he was saying before, that if this is the case, then it will make more sense that the Kohen Gadol should have also silver in the garments, because silver is coming from the world of Chokhmah. And not only that, we spoke about it, the concept of the silver and the gold, and the mediator is copper. So should have copper there too. How come the Kohen Gadol doesn't have it? All this is why, you would think that the silver and the copper will hint about the hitkalelut, the connection, the mixing of Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet. But the reason why he didn't say that if there isn't silver and copper, because the place where the copper and the silver went to, penetrated to, is to a different place. Where did the silver and the copper manifested into? To the courtyard of the Mishkan. The Mishkan has a certain courtyard and was also a very holy place, and nobody was able to go into the courtyard. That is where the silver and the copper end up coming, we're going to. Where do we see that? Dichtiv, as it says, and this is again in the book of Shmot. We're going to start reading about it very soon, because after, in about 3 parashot, we're starting to read about Yetziat Mitzrayim. And after that, the receiving of the Torah. In 6 parashot, in Yitro, we're going to receive the Torah. Right after that comes the parasha of Mishpatim. After that, Naso, what we're going to read tomorrow in our fast, starting to talk about the Mishkan, right away building the Mishkan. What does it say in the parasha? Dichtiv. Dichtiv means it says, it's written, Kol amudei hechatzer, all the pillars of the courtyard, Saviv, they surrounded the courtyard, Mechushakim, Kesef vegomer. They're connected to each other, and what are they made out of? Kesef, or silver. Not only that, Uchtiv, and it says in the Torah, it's written, Ve'adnehem nechoshet, and the base that where the pillars went into, it's called Adanim. This is made out of copper, out of nechoshet. De'inun mane shimusha, that these vessels, maybe the wrong word is to say vessel. In Hebrew, it's a kli, a tool or a vessel that was used to construct the Mishkan. Lishtamsha, mashkana behu, that the Mishkan had to use these, both the pillars and the base. There is a name to it, I just don't remember how it's translated to English, the Adanim. It was like some type of a base that was placed on the floor, and the pillar would be fit into it. Excuse me? Foundation. Not the foundation, but the way they built it, the pillars, there was a fence surrounding the Mishkan. And there was certain pillars that was holding it, and then they have sheets that were creating the walls. But there was like a base, that, imagine just a base sitting on the ground, and the pillar goes inside. So that way the pillar is sitting very firm. And once they connected all the pillars together, kind of like a Lego. Try imagine when the Mishkan was like Lego. They took it apart dozens of times. Just the journeys. Every time they had to leave, take the whole Mishkan apart, and they had it all written down. If they had like 2 walls, So just for the sake of the example, they would write on this part of the wall, this part of the wall, Aleph. So they know Aleph goes with Aleph. And on this part of the wall, this part of the wall will be Bet. So Bet will go to Bet. They had it all calculated. And each family from the Leviim would have a different job. Who's carrying what? Just imagine of the construction and how efficient it was. A couple hours, the whole thing is down. And everything had the kelim, how to hold everything. Then they would move wherever they would move, wherever Hashem wanted to move them. There's a very deep mystical reason why they kept moving all the time. But once they came to where they had to park, there was a certain cloud. The cloud would lead them. Wherever the cloud would go, they would know. Whenever the cloud goes up, then that was their sign. And like an army, like robots, everything would take apart, start going, following the cloud. The cloud would stop, they build it up again, within hours. But it was like Lego, pieces together. Now if you take now just loose pieces of whatever, wood or whatever, even bricks, it's not sitting firm. But when you put them all together and you lock it, that's when it becomes very firm. That's what they used to do. So they had these foundation this is called Adanim.
There were slots that would
be exactly like slots.
Embedded in the earth.
Yeah, so these were made out of copper, and the pillars would make out of silver, and it will be stuck inside. And these were serving the Mishkan. The Mishkan used to use it, and therefore both the silver and the copper had participated in the work of the Mishkan. And what is this hinting to us? Because the pillars and the foundation was the wall of the courtyard. So this represents something that is external, chitzoni. Everything in the spiritual world and even in the physical world has an internal part to it and an external part. And the silver and the copper, they represented the chitzoniut of the Mishkan, the outside of the Mishkan, because that's what everybody saw from the outside.
And that's the chesed and tiferet?
The chesed is the gold. The chesed is kesef, silver, and gvura is gold, and tiferet is the copper.
So which part was gold?
The gold is from gvura.
No, but in the structure.
The gold was inside, in the bugadim of the Kohen.
Wow.
And the kesef, the silver, and the nechoshet was outside. So this is hinting that the silver and the copper was chitzoni, external, because everybody from Israel, from the nation, would use it. The gold, only the Kohen would use. But the silver and the copper, everybody from the nation used it. Therefore, they weren't allowed to be served in the Mishkan inside. אבל הכה באילן לבושין, דיקר לה באי להשתמשה, בהו ברנש אחרה. But here, with these garments of honor, of glory, of the Kohen Gadol, nobody would use them but the Kohen Gadol. Even a regular Kohen was not allowed to use them. The regular Kohen had special garments for himself, and the Kohen Gadol, they had a very unique wardrobe. And nobody else was able to use them. Not only that, Bar Mekahana, Rabba Dirbu Mashach Kutshal Reshe, besides the Kohen Gadol that used to use them, and before he used them, they had to anoint them with special oil. And the oil would have to go first on the head of the Kohen, then on the beard, and then it would go all over the clothes. This is called Shemen Mishchat Kodesh. It's talking about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that he was able to do the same peula, the same action of an anointment without the oil, without garments, without anything. When we sing the famous song Bar Yochai, Nimshachta Ashrecha. What's Nimshachta? You got anointed. You got anointed by Hashem. Hashem, here Moshe Rabbeinu takes a special oil and he pours it on the kelim and he pours it on everything. Bar Yochai was in such a level that we say on him, Bar Yochai, Nimshachta.
Nimshachta is a nimshach,
no? No, it's called Shemen Mishchat Kodesh. He was anointed. And Ashrecha, happy are you that you got anointed by Hashem. And the next bite of the song is Bar Yochai Shemen Mishchat Kodesh. That the Kadosh Baruch Hu anointed Bar Yochai in that level. I mean, again, don't picture the oil right now. It's the Hamshacha is bestowing the Kedusha. When the Kohen does that, it's bestowing this holiness on the Kelim, or on the Kohen, or on the king. You know, very soon Mashiach is coming. We're going to see it with our own eyes. It's going to be broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube, and all the phones and everything, because not everybody will get a first row ticket, and we're going to see how Melech HaMashiach is being anointed. He's a king. This is going to be a ceremony. I mean, everybody, when you have the Olympics ceremony, you have like 500 million people watching some guy lighting a torch, and you have the Super Bowl. You have another 300 million people watching a bunch of guys running on a field. Can you imagine what of a production is going to be when Mashiach is going to be anointed? This is not like the Oscars that you have a few Hollywood stars there. This is the whole world is going to be viewing how Mashiach is being anointed with this oil. This is what I don't think that people really digest. What we're about to see very soon.
Who's going to anoint Mashiach? Who will anoint him?
Then there's different opinions. Some say that Mashiach is going to come right away with Moshe and Aaron, and one of them, maybe Moshe Rabbeinu, would anoint him. Some say Eliyahu Navi. We don't. With difference of opinions, but nevertheless, Mashiach is a king. He's called Melech HaMashiach. He's a king. He has to be anointed with this oil. So the oil is not just to make his hair greasy, so he would look like John Travolta. The oil always represents. Food represents a certain amshacha in the world above. Bread represents Torah. Water represents the oral Torah. Wine that we mix with food and is representing the secrets of the Torah, but oil is representing the secrets of the secrets. That's why on Chanukah specifically, now we just celebrated Chanukah, and there's a question, how come we don't eat on Chanukah? All the holidays we have to eat. So the joke is that somebody wanted to kill us, Hashem made a miracle, let's eat. But all the holidays we eat. Pesach is around the Leil Seder, Purim we have a Suda, Sukkot and Shavuot, it's a festive meal. It's all meals. And Chanukah doesn't have a meal, because all the rest of the victories and the miracles was a miracle and the victory for the body. So we have to celebrate it with something that enlightens and feeds the body. Chanukah, the victory was on the soul, so we use fire, because the soul is compared to fire and to a candle. But there's a secret why we do it specifically with oil. Not because they found the oil in Bet HaMikdash, rather because of what I told you. There are different groups of food. We know that according to the halakha, a person can live off bread and water. That's enough for you. You don't need more than that. Bread represents the written Torah. Water represents the oral Torah. You must have bread and water. That's what you can live off. Take now a person and put him on an island, give him bread and water, he will survive. Now, the next type of food, which is a beverage that we consume, is wine. Now, wine can be eaten with the bread and water, can be drunk by itself, and you don't have to. The wine represents the secret part of the Torah. But then there's a type of beverage that you cannot drink it by itself. Of course, it's oil. I don't know people that just drink oil. But when you pour it on food, it makes the food better. You put it on a salad, makes the salad better. You put food in it and cook in it, then it's called in Hebrew meshabeach, makes it much more refined. The oil is what is called razin de razin, the secrets of the secrets. So anytime that we bump into something that has to do with oil, it's coming from a very high madriga, very high level of pnimiut. So we imagine the oil dripping on the Kohen, but this is a way how Hashem is bestowing a very high level of Kedusha, and a Kohen gets anointed, a Melech, a king gets anointed. So, we were saying that the clothes of the Kohen Gadol, only the Kohen Gadol was able to wear them. Other people were not able to wear them. Besides the Kohen Gadol, that they used to go all the way into what's called Kodesh HaKodeshim, the Holy of Holies, and when he used to do that, he had a very special oil that used to drip on his head. This is called Shemen Mishchat Kodesh. Shemen is the oil, Mishchat is the smearing, and Kodesh is holy. And it used to go on the head of the Kohen Gadol. What does it really mean? That he used to get a certain shefa, an abundance, from where? From the Sphero of Chokhmah. And again, he's calling it constantly Abba, it's not calling it Chokhmah. You will find it a lot in the teachings of Kabbalah, that it doesn't use the word Chokhmah. We remember it as Chokhmah, Bina, Dat. In Kabbalah it's calling Chokhmah Abba and Bina Ima. And of course, needless to say, I didn't mention it, but needless to say, we're talking here about the world of Atzilut. This is not coming from any other world. When we're talking about the level of Chokhmah here, it's only coming from the world of Atzilut, and the world of Atzilut is called Kodesh. Kodesh is holy. And again, not because he's like a holy individual, rather because holy means separated. It's totally exalted. And this is hinting on the Kohen Gadol and the garments. Dichtiv, what does it says in the Torah? V'asita bigdei kodesh le'Aaron achicha. Kadosh Baruch Hu is telling Moshe Rabbeinu, make to your brother Aaron holy garments, lechavod uletif'aret, for honor and for glorification. What does it mean? Debeinu levushin damei legavna dil'ela, that with the same garments that the manifestation was given to Aaron HaKohen and the Kohen Gadol later on, these same garments was the exact same garments, it is the exact same garments that the Sphero of Chokhmah is dressed in the world of Atzilut. See where we're holding. Now let's try there is a commentary here by the Ramak, which let's start doing it. Let's see if it might be a little bit too deep to understand. But anyways, to understand the connection to the next thing that we're about to learn, the Arizal explains it in the book that is called Etz Chaim. In the introduction, he says that we know this was given to us by Shlomo HaMelech. Ze l'umat ze bara Elokim. Kadosh Baruch Hu creates everything with something that is opposing it, something that is a mirror to it. With everything that Hashem created, there's going to be a l'umat ze. Everything has that, from the highest to the lowest. Even Moshe Rabbeinu has a l'umat ze. And the l'umat ze of Moshe Rabbeinu is Bilam HaRasha. And the sources say that Bilam was in such a high level that if he would direct it to positive, he would be greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. But everything has a l'umat ze, something that is opposing it, and the higher it goes, it will go with it. So the Arizal says, we know that since this is the rule of the world. When Hashem created the world, He had Hashem is the architect, Hashem is the engineer, Hashem is everything. And in order for the world to sustain, it was based on rules. And Hashem never breaks the rules. Doesn't matter who it is, what it is, Hashem will never, for anyone and for anything, will change the rules. That's why we see that all the miracles that we ever encountered in the history, there was no changing of the rules. It was using what is already existing. Take for example all the plagues that were in Mitzrayim. Hashem didn't create something new. He took whatever's already created and made it too much, or a lot of it.
But the miracle is changing the rules.
No, it's no changing the rules. It's just using what is already created to make a miracle. But you're not going to find any miracle in our history that Hashem recreated something new that doesn't exist. And again, the most that we see miracles is in Yetziat Mitzrayim. And take all the miracles. So the Niles and all the waters in Egypt became blood. Okay, so blood existed, water existed, just put all the blood in the water. Then the frogs. Frogs were there. So he just made millions of them, and they were the size of a Rottweiler. Okay, and what then? There was Arbe, a mixture of animals. Okay, so here you'll see one wolf or one bear. So he just made thousands of them. Same thing with everything that all the plagues and everything else, even the water that split. The water split. He just moved the water. So Hashem makes rules and He never breaks the rules. Doesn't matter who it is and what it is. What do you want to ask before we continue?
I wanted to say, I believe it's in letters, when Hashem made the world and He made the laws of nature, He also built in certain things in the laws of nature that at certain times
Exactly.
He only implemented, like the splitting of the water,
100%.
the donkey speaking to Bill.
Yeah, that's you're right. This is found in Midrash Rabbah that Hashem created in the rules. What would be the times that the rules can be not bent but manipulated? So again, like you said, the donkey of Bilam spoke. The donkey, he didn't have to create a donkey. And according to the Arizal, all the animals speak. The Arizal knew all the languages of the animals. So the animals still speak. And same thing with all the miracles. Like you said, the sea split. Nothing was recreated. It's just the rules, the so to say, the boundaries of nature changed. So, but Hashem never breaks the rules. There's a parable about Hashem because there's a kind of a paradox. Imagine now a Supreme Court judge, his son gets caught driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. How do you call it? DUI, DWI? So he gets caught now. And he's driving 200 miles an hour in a car. Now he gets arrested. So now has a big question. What would the father do? He's a Supreme Court judge. Now, if he lets the son go, then people will say, what is this going on here? Oh, his son he lets go? Everybody else he doesn't? And Davka, his son, he lets him go? Now, if he doesn't let him go, then what will people say? What kind of a father is that? He's not coming for the aid of his child. The child is in trouble. This is the paradox that Hashem has. He's the father. He can do whatever he wants. But if he starts changing things, then everybody will say, whoa, 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 why are you changing for him and not for him? That's why, when it comes to our Avodat Hashem, and we serve Hashem, and everybody has the same judgment. Why? So there could not be a situation that a soul will come in front of Hashem and say, wait a minute, whoa, I have a good lawyer here right now. How come to this guy you didn't do it and to me you do it? So everybody has to be completely equal. There can be a situation that one has what they call here in Israel, protectia. There's no protectia in Shamayim. I don't care who you are, where you came from, if you're Moshe Rabbeinu, if you're Stam Moshe Lezuchmin. It doesn't matter. There's the rules, and Hashem never breaks the rules.
But
with that said, excuse me?
Teshuvah.
Excuse me?
Teshuvah, you can do rules.
Tshuva, well, that's part or it's part of the rules?
Within the framework.
The tshuva is part of the rules that you can reset, or to do, how do you call it, the factory mode?
Factory reset.
Yeah, the factory reset. You can find the path how to do a factory reset and to, how do you say, reactivate, reverse it. Exactly. But again, the point is that Hashem doesn't make new rules and He doesn't break rules, doesn't matter who you are. That's why a lot of people think, and it's the biggest mistake, that if I'm a good individual and I follow 90% of the Torah, then Hashem will let go for the other 10%. This is the wrong attitude. Who says that? Lehefech, if you're 90% following the Torah, then the Talmud says, Kadosh Baruch Hu medakdekim tzedikim kechut ha'se'ara. The Kadosh Baruch Hu, the higher you go, the more Hashem is particular with you. So one cannot come and say, I'm doing 95% of what the Torah says, 5% I don't feel like doing it. Hashem will understand. He knows my Yetzer Hara. Yes, He knows your Yetzer Hara, but you're still going to have to stand and give an account. Nevertheless, so we know that Ze Leumat Ze bara Elokim. Everything in the world has a Leumat Ze. Has to be. That's how it's created in the world. Now, if this is the case, it means also in the spiritual world there's the same concept. Now we know that in every world, in the spiritual worlds, we are going to be talking now about 4 spiritual worlds. From the top to the bottom, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah. Even though there's a 5th world above Olam Atzilut that is referred to as Adam Kadmon, or it's referred to in most places as an acronym, Ak, Aleph, Kuf. But we know that each world has 5 partzufim. A partzuf is a face, and each world has 5 partzufim. I actually want, maybe we'll do one day, and instead of learning the Zohar, we'll take the book of Etz Chaim and explain, based on the Arizal, the structure of these 4 worlds, and how each world has in it 5 partzufim, and each partzuf has 10 sphirot. So we can understand the concept, because we know that the soul has 5 levels, 5 components: Chaya, Yechida, Chaya, Neshama, Nefesh, and Ruach, and Nefesh. But the way it's structured is that each one is built from another 5 that is built from another 5. So really there's 5 times 5 times 5, and that's how many levels the neshama has, 125 levels. So it will start with the lowest of nefesh, the nefesh, the nefesh, and the highest will be yechida, the yechida, the yechida. And in all the teachings that we learn, whether it's talking about the yechida, it's talking about the yechida sheba nefesh, not the yechida that is of the ruach or the neshama, or definitely not the yechida of the yechida. So same thing here. Each world, take the world now of Bria, then it will have 5 parzufim in it, and each parzuf will have 10 sphirot, meaning that you have in each world 50 levels. The Arizal is explaining it in the book of the Gates of Reincarnation, how when you have to refine the level of nefesh, it has to go up 50 levels before it will get completely refined and gets to the point of ruach. So again, so the Ari explains, this is found in the book Etz Chaim, and the book Etz Chaim there's no chapters there, rather it's called Gates. This is in Gate 48, Shar Memchet, and he says every world has 5 parzufim de kedusha. But since it has 5 parzufim de kedusha, must be that it has the leumat zeh, 5 parzufim of the leumat zeh, means 5 parzufim of the klipa. That's how Hashem created it. Omnam. Now, here we have, on one side, we have the Zun, the Zachar and Nekeva of the Kedusha. And the Zachar and Nekeva of Kedusha, which is a Chochma and Bina, then it has Gimel Mochin. The Gimel Mochin Gimel is 3, is the letter Gimel, Chochma, Bina, and Dat. And all this is in the side of Kedusha. There's also the same thing in the side of Klippa. So there will be the Zachar and Nekeva, the female and the male, of the Klippa, and they also have, but the Ari explains that specifically in the Leumat Zeh, we don't know right now why, but the Leumat Zeh does only have 2 levels of Mochin, which is the Chochma and Bina. Doesn't have that in the Leumat Zeh. Why is that like that? We're going to have to learn, to continue learning. Next, what else the Ari says? The Shtei Mochin, the 2 levels of Mochin that the Klippa has, this is Klippat Noga Da'atzilot. So we know that there are 3 Klippot Meot. Bezrat Hashem, one day I think we should learn, there is a few sources that explain about all the Klippot, the types of the Klippot and the character trait of each Klippa, because they're broken into 7 Klippot corresponding to the 7 nations that we had to conquer when we went into Israel. And then there's an 8th Klippa, that it's called Klippat Midian. Midian was the 8th nation that we had to conquer. And there's a lot of interesting information because we can relate with each Klippa. And nevertheless, this is Klippot Meot. There's also a Klippa that is called Klippat Noga, that is a mixture of good and bad. Now there's Klippat Noga from different worlds. Here specifically it's referring to the Klippat Noga of the world of Atzilut. And this is everything that we're talking now, this is not from the Zohar, this is from Etz Chaim by the Arizal. These Klippat Noga in Atzilut, they're called 2 people. That's how it's called. And these people are called 2 spies. 2 spies or Shtei Mochin. 2 levels in the intellect. But they're coming only from the side, the female side of it. This is called the Klippat Nukba, the Klippat Noga. Where they're coming from the world of Atzilut. These are called the 2 birds. If you ever run into the term in Kabbalah, the 2 birds, you can relate to that this is talking about the 2 levels of Mochin from Klippat Noga in the world of Atzilut. I know everything that I'm saying now sounds like Chinese, but bear in mind, we'll see what the Ari says, then tomorrow we'll continue and we'll see how it's relating. Gimel, another thing, we know that in the Nukba is the female side of the Sphirot. The female side of the Sphirot is the Sphero of Malchut. Now, since we're talking about the world of Atzilut, so it's talking about the Malchut of the world of Atzilut. The Malchut of Atzilut, on the side, of course, of Kedusha, it has 2 demons. And these 2 demons are, see, we said demons and got a flash. So there are 2 demons in the world below. And these 2 demons are it's the secret that is called the breasts of the behemah. You know, a cow, where do you take the milk from? You take it from the breast. In Hebrew, it's called dadim. Excuse me?
Teeth.
Whatever. Excuse me? Honor? Udders.
Something other.
Now, I mean, now everything, again, I told you everything that's in this world is a manifestation from the world above. Now what happens when a person does a sin? Then the sin creates what's called a yenika, sucking. What do you take? How do you take the milk out of the cow? From the, how do you say, teat?
No, teeth.
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 And you have to squeeze it, but this is not this is not a natural way, by the way, to take milk out of a cow. The milk is there for the calf, not for you. But anyways, when the calf drinks it, it sucks it out. This is called yenika. When a person does a sin, the klipa has a yenika. It's sucking kedusha from the world of Atzilut. This is why we're not allowed to do sins. Not because Hashem wants to restrict me and to drive me nuts. It's because when I do a certain action, since I am a manifestation of a world above, and there's a la'umat in my level, when I do sin, I open up a door. And through this door, the klipa can suck kedusha.
Did she say that was through the fingers and the toes before once?
The yenika can come through the fingers and the toes. But nevertheless, when there's a sin, then the klipa can have yenika. Yenika from klipa. And these are these two birds that we just mentioned from the side of the klipa. Then they're called the two birds. This is the secret of Chokhmah and Bina. Now, the moach of Chokhmah, the intellect of Chokhmah, can go up to that level and to suck from there the kedusha, the holiness. But when? Only when it's day. Now, day, of course, we relate to day as we see light coming to the world. But since I told you, if you remember before, everything that happens in the world above, it happens in the world below. So whenever there's daylight, it means that there's a he'ara in the world above, there's a shine in the world above. When the night goes down, then it diminishes the light in the world above. That's why right when it drops the light, there's a lot of judgments and a lot of dinim. That's why right away in Tzedek Kochavim we say a certain verse, in this verse, it has the names of these four mashchitim. We say Vehu Rachum, he's merciful, velo yashchit, and he's not giving power to the mashchit. Mashchit is the destroyer. And in this verse it has the four names of the four mashchitim. This is a different place in the Zohar. We can learn about it another time because it's actually pretty intense how these four mashchitim go down to the world. Each one has a certain name, and it's in the verse. You can find it. Vehu Rachum yichaper avon. Avon is the first one. Velo yashchit. Shachat is the second one. Yirba lashiva po. Af is the last one. Af is the most craziest one. That's when we know that Pinchas fought with the Zimri. He said Vayechi et apo. He was able to reverse the anger of the mashchit, this destroyer that is called Af. Nevertheless, this we'll do maybe another time. But when the night falls, then the shine of Hashem in the worlds above is diminishing. So it becomes dark in this world. That's why we know that around Alot HaShachar is the most powerful time of Chesed. That's why many people, they have the custom that they pray what's called Vatikim. That the second the dawn hits, that's when I pray. Because it's the highest level of Chesed in the world. That's why we do many things, we don't do many things till midnight. Because up until midnight, it's when it's diminishing. Midnight is the most darkest part of the day. And a minute after midnight, then it starts sliding up. We don't see it with our eyes. But from a midnight and a minute, and it's not midnight 12 a.m. It changes depending on the time of the day. But from Chatzot of the night, then it reverses itself, and it starts shining the Chesed. But the Yenika, the sucking of Kedusha by the Klipot, can only do that when the night falls. Can't do it during the day. And of course, where would it take it from? It would take it from the level that is called Bina, and that can only be done on the night. Let's do just the last one so we can have it in our mind. Tomorrow we'll continue. Daled. Now we know that the klipa in the world of Atzilut, the klipa of Atzilut, the place where it dwells, this is called Mador, where it dwells, is a little bit below the seventh hall. There's 7 halls. Hall, H-A-L-L, hall. There are 7 halls in every hall. H-A-H-L-L, right?
hallway.
Like a hallway, but you know the heichal is called a hall. There are 7 halls, and the klipa is dwelling in the 7th one, but the highest one, right underneath the world of Atzilut. And the klipa of Bria is called Nukba de Tehom Araba, the female side of the pit, of the great pit. And I'm just throwing all sorts of information what Dari is saying so we can start connecting everything together later. And the last that he explains, that we know from the first tikkun of the Yud Gimel Tikkunei Dikna, Kadosh Baruch Hu has 13 attributes of mercy. The terminology in Kabbalah is not attributes of mercy, what's called Yud Gimel Midot Rachamim. Rather, it's called Tikkunei Dikna. That's one of the many reasons why we wear a beard, because the beard is a manifestation of these 13 attributes. If you look at the beard, it's divided into 13 pieces. There's the first 2 pieces over here, 2 pieces over here, 2 pieces over here, if you look through the beard. And then there's the last one, the 13th one is here. There's only one here. So the 13 parts of the beard is a manifestation of these 13 attributes of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. We're not going to call them now attributes, rather we call them the tikkunim. Dikna is the zakan, is the beard, the facial structure. So we know that in the tikkun rishon there's 13, so there's the first one. The tikkun rishon from all 13, the avim, from the level of mother and father, they come from that 3 worlds. And these 3 worlds, they penetrate into the Sphero of Bina, and after that to the Sphirot, to the Zir Anpin, and then on to Malchut of the world of Atzilut. And after that, they spreading down into the worlds below, to the 3 worlds of Bria, Tzira, and Asiyah. And he concludes by saying, "U'be'ezrat Hashem, bezen navin ma'amar rabba." And with the help of Hashem, what I just told you now, that sounds like Chinese, we'll be able to understand the next section that we're going to learn tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem, in the Zohar. But the Rizal just gave us some type of a foundation. Try to remember what we said, because we'll go back to it and start explaining one thing after the other what it means. The point to take from that, because it sounds bemet like Chinese. What are you talking to me about? This world, that world, a clipper from here, a clipper from there. The point is that when you relate with it, when you understand it, then you start understanding and relating with the actions that you do in this world. So you become observant, so everybody tells you, grow a beard. Why? Because that's what the Torah says. Yeah, where does it say it? And why should I put it on? And no, because everybody, you see everybody has beard. No, I don't want to put a beard on. Why do I need a beard? So now go and interview every bearded person and ask him, why do you have a beard? Why do you grow a beard? Because everybody has a beard. Because they told me in the yeshiva that I should put a beard. Because what? Because the big rabbis have beards. I want to understand why I put a beard. If I understand that, I will hold my beard like this. I'm not going to let this beard even little hair being cut from the beard. I will hold this beard. Did you know what it means, this beard? Oh, if you would understand what this beard means, then you would carry it with the greatest honor and respect. Besides that, you know, if I want to pull something into the world, then I need a vessel. Everything needs a vessel. If I want now, I can give you now $1 million check. If you don't have a bank account, this check is worthless. You can throw the check outside the window because you need a bank account. Nobody will give you from this check anything. You need to put it in a bank account, and the bank account will be the vessel that takes the check and transforms it into money. And this is in everything in life. Everything in life, in order for it to actualize, it needs a base to hold it. This is called a kli. So when I'm creating something in this world, I mean, we're talking right now about the garments. We'll summarize it at the end, that everything that I do here, I'm not inventing something. It's not that I'm doing it for nothing. You know, when we put tefillin on in the morning, so we know to go like this. Okay, big deal. So I put a piece of leather on my hand. We don't know what it means, what it does, why 7 times, why black, why it has to be in a certain way, why 3 on the top and 7 on the bottom. There's explanations for everything. Now, if I would be able to see actually what is happening right now, then I would understand with every round, what does it mean, 1 round? Why I do that? I want to get to a point that I understand that. Because right now we're doing the mitzvot, what's called lo b'shlemot. It's not completed. Because I'm just doing the physical. I'm practicing right now. You know, I'm practicing to the show. And you practice, and you practice, and you practice. Now, when Mashiach is going to come, it's going to be the actual show. What I did now for 3,000 years, now let's do it. You know, in the army we call it, you practice al yavesh, dry. And then when you actually do it, it's called the ratuv. You know, you do the real thing. It's not fake bullets, it's the real bullets. So I want to understand that every action that I do, why? And what it causes. That will cause me, A, to do it much better, B, to understand what I'm doing and I'm not a robot, and more than that, I can relate with what's happening so I can have the right intention. And I can respect it in a completely different way. If we would understand every little thing that we do, it will be done in a completely different way. And the point is that I want to refine myself to a level that I can relate with what's going on here. Why I have a beard? I mean, I know that it's now very popular and all the hipsters have beards, but I want to know why I'm carrying the beard. And trust me, when you know what it means, you relate with it in a completely different way. Same thing why we do every little act. So it happens to be with garments. But the point is that I want to reach to a level that I really learn and I understand what every little thing means, that I can do it in a completely different way, in a much more profound way. Needless to say that it's done in such a way that it makes a much bigger difference. Bezrat Hashem will continue tomorrow after our fast, and hopefully the words of the Arizal, they were a little bit confusing, will start becoming a little bit more clearer to us. רבי חנניה בן הקשיא אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה ויאדיר.